The silence began in the middle of an ordinary school day. Within minutes, an entire nation, Canada, was forced into mourning. In the small town of Tumbler Ridge, tucked deep inside British Columbia, parents had said goodbye that morning expecting routine, homework, and dinner conversations. Instead, many were met with uncertainty no family is ever prepared to face. Authorities later confirmed multiple fatalities and dozens of injuries after a shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. According to Royal Canadian Mounted Police, officers responded to an active threat call early Tuesday afternoon. Inside the building, they discovered several victims, while others were located at connected sites nearby. Some individuals were treated locally for non-life-threatening injuries as investigators secured the area and began piecing together the timeline. A timeline that, even now, raises difficult questions. Officials have withheld identities while families are notified, emphasizing respect and care over speed. Across the country, classrooms paused, workplaces fell quiet, and communities followed every update, hoping for clarity. When Mark Carney addressed reporters, his words carried visible weight. Alongside statements of support from Melanie Joly and leaders abroad, the message was consistent. This was not a political moment, but a human one. Tumbler Ridge is a close community. Fewer than 200 students share its halls. Here, classmates are neighbors, and teachers know families by name. That is why the impact reaches beyond statistics. Every street now holds a story interrupted, and every home holds a question that may never fully be answered. As news spread beyond Canada's borders, messages of support began arriving from around the world. From Europe to Asia to the Middle East, leaders expressed sympathy, reminding grieving families that compassion does not stop at geography. Among those who reached out were officials from France, the United Kingdom, Norway, Finland, India, and the United Arab Emirates. The message was simple but powerful. You are not alone. It is a very difficult day for the nation, Prime Minister Mark Carney said, acknowledging that in Tumbler Ridge, parents, grandparents, brothers, and sisters would wake up to an absence that cannot be measured. His words were steady, but the weight behind them was unmistakable. The nation mourns with you. Canada stands beside you. And in moments like this, solidarity becomes more than a gesture. It becomes a lifeline. Behind the scenes, federal and provincial leaders coordinated support. The Minister of Public Safety engaged immediately and traveled to British Columbia to meet local officials and community members. Assistance was pledged without hesitation. Flags across federal buildings were lowered to half-mast, a quiet symbol, yet one that speaks loudly. It signals remembrance. It signals respect. It tells every grieving family that their loss matters to the entire country. The Prime Minister also thanked first responders, educators, medical teams, and community members, those who acted with courage and compassion in unimaginable circumstances. They moved toward uncertainty to protect others. In that response, many saw the values Canada strives to uphold. Later, inside the House of Commons of Canada, Mark Carney addressed the nation again. He described Tumbler Ridge as resilient and hardworking, a community shaped by miners, teachers, and families who stand by one another. He recalled how the town had endured wildfires and economic hardship before, and how neighbors consistently showed up for each other when it mattered most. Tumbler Ridge represents the very best of Canada, he said, urging Parliament to honor that spirit not only with words, but with action, to work toward a country that is safer, kinder, and worthy of the communities it serves. In closing, he spoke directly to those most affected, families grieving loved ones, students, and teachers. Processing trauma, paramedics and officers from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police who responded without knowing what they would face. His message was clear. The country sees you, stands with you, and will not forget. He offered gratitude to those who stepped forward, for courage, for compassion, for choosing care in a moment defined by fear. And he reminded the country of something deeper. Even in darkness, humanity still reveals itself through ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Prime Minister Mark Carney placed the tragedy within Canada's collective memory. He spoke of earlier days of national mourning, events that left lasting marks on communities from Montreal to Quebec City, from Nova Scotia to Humboldt in Saskatchewan. Each time, he said, Canadians are shaken by loss. And each time, they gather closer to remember, to support, and slowly rebuild. Alongside him, Melanie Joly and federal officials emphasized that support would extend beyond immediate response. The priority, they explained, is sustained care, mental health assistance, financial relief, and long-term resources for families and survivors. The commitment is not measured in days, but in years, long after cameras leave and headlines move on. Government representatives confirmed coordination with provincial leaders and local authorities, focusing first on the community's ability to breathe again before any wider debate begins. There will be time for difficult conversations, the Prime Minister said, but grief cannot be rushed and healing cannot be scheduled. What happened in Tumbler Ridge has permanently changed lives. No speech can reverse it. No policy can erase it. Yet the response of a nation still matters. In the hours that followed, Canadians witnessed compassion, unity, and quiet leadership. Parliament stood together. Communities across the country paused together. And messages of support reached families who needed to know they were not facing this alone. Canada mourns with you. To those recovering, the country hopes for your strength. To the students, teachers, and residents of Tumbler Ridge, the nation stands beside you. And for everyone watching, hold the people in your life a little closer tonight. Tragedy reminds us how fragile time can be, but also how powerful kindness becomes when shared.